Congresswoman Robin Kelly joins us. Very great to have you here. Grab a headset. Join us right now. She represents Illinois' 2nd District.
Robin's been a great friend of labor all along, from her history from all along. She's always been with us and always been at Southland events. Robin?
Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for rolling with us and joining us here on WCPT.
Thanks for having me.
Man, you've got your work cut out for you, don't you now? It is everything, the smallest, forget about the big things, the smallest things. Everything's a fight now. Everything is, I mean, I don't know if the courts are going to save us. They seem to be trying to put an end to the worst of it, but then we see where the White House doesn't care what the court rules and is doing things that the court's telling them not to do. This is a terrible, brave new world.
It's unprecedented, and we are fighting as hard as we can. But of course, as you know, we're fighting with one hand tied behind our backs, and that's why everyone in this room is so important, and other rooms, other entities, other organizations are so very important. We've worked with all the Democratic governors, Democratic AGs. We've met with countless organizations. We're working closely with Democracy Forward. They're bringing a lot of the cases to court, and as you said, we are winning. But, you know, if they keep going up to the Supreme Court, we don't know, you know, what will happen then. And we just need 3 fearless, brave Republicans with spines to vote with us in the House, because they're only ahead of us by 2 people. So we're really trying to put the pressure on those Republicans that are in districts that Kamala won, or districts that are on the bubble. Yes, swing states, to really put the pressure on them. But also, we shouldn't let Boss, Mary Miller, or Darren LaHood off the hook too. We need to be calling them every day, and we need to be relentless. I know Mary Miller will never change. I don't know about the other 2. I doubt it, but they still need to hear from their constituents.
I was out in McHenry County yesterday talking to the McHenry County Democratic women, and they specifically said, you know, what can we do? And it was like, start local. Start with the people who are in your elected districts. Some of the people in this room are represented by Darren LaHood. Call his office. Let him know that you're not happy with him. You know, a year or so ago, I had his dad, Ray, on the radio with me. And I forget what we were talking about, but we were in agreement. And at the end, I said, so, Ray, did you ever talk to your son about this? And there was this long pause, and he said, yeah, but we don't always see eye to eye.
They definitely don't. Ray and I went to Bradley University, not at the same time, and we're actually on a search committee together. And oftentimes people have come to him and said, what is up with Darren? And I know Darren, we've traveled together. I know their family. It's very disappointing, because at some point, where does your values come into play? You know, when are you going to do what's right, regardless of if you lose or not, but you're doing the right thing for the people?
Yeah. I know that a lot of the people who call into my show, whether or not you guys are in the majority, they want to see you behaving like we've seen Republicans behave. Slow things down. Speak out loud and long and frequently, and generally make a nuisance of yourself if you can. I guess taking a page from the old Mitch McConnell playbook, you know, make them miserable, make them slow, make them work for everything they get.
And we are trying to do that. We just haven't had that many committee meetings yet, but the Budget Committee, because of the Democrats, it took 12 to 14 hours to get through that committee, led by my colleague Brendan Boyle from Pennsylvania. We are doing that. All this last week was a district work period. I had 2 press conferences. I had a teletown hall. 11,000 people were a part of the teletown hall. We did a Know Your Rights. Yeah, we have been active, but it just depends on where you get your news. And we realize we have to really, you know, ratchet up the social media, because that's where 75% of the people get their news now.
Yeah. And I know there are still people out there who say, well, you know, when I was growing up, Republicans and Democrats worked together across the aisle. Things were bipartisan. That's what I want to see now. And I don't know if you disagree, Robin, but my response is it takes two to tango. And when the other side doesn't want to talk to you, doesn't want to include you, doesn't reach out and say, hey, Robin, I've got this bill and I think it's right up your alley and I'd love to get you to co-sponsor it. You can't force someone to work with you.
Actually, a lot of us get along much better than people think. And I just had a Republican reach out to me. But for me now, it's hard to reach back. But I still have to look at the bill, and is it good for, my constituents? Is it good for the American people? But what they say privately, they don't act out publicly when it comes time to voting. And that's the most important thing. But also, the American people are voting against their best interest. When we tried to tell them what was going to happen, oh, that's just him talking, he's not going to do it. Well, he's doing everything.
Did you not pay attention to his first term where he actually did the things he said he was going to do? Misremembering, a lot of that. But even Project 2025, we tried to put, that out there. We tried to not leave a stone unturned, but whatever we did, it wasn't good enough. And that's why we're, in this situation. But we're out all over this country. Leader Hakeem Jeffries, a big friend of labor, he is all over the place, trying to talk to every entity that he can. We are very busy. So, hopefully we can... there's 3 Republicans we can work on, but if not, in the long term, not so long term, hopefully Leader Jeffries will become Speaker Jeffries. And the only reason he didn't this time was because of the gerrymandering that occurred. For one, in North Carolina, they wiped off 3 of my colleagues. They didn't even have a chance to run again. Yeah, gerrymandering and voter suppression.
Definitely.
I'm so sad that it doesn't look like anytime soon we'll see the John Lewis Voting Rights Act. Because, I was talking to an investigative reporter about the next elections, and he said, forget gerrymandering. If you've got voter suppression, you don't even need gerrymandering. You can always win an election, even if you're in the minority, with voter suppression.
We passed it twice in the House, but we could not get it passed in the Senate. As you know, it needs 60 votes, and we haven't been there. And even though when John Lewis was alive, everyone loved John Lewis, brought their kids and family to meet John Lewis, Democrat or Republican, blah, 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 blah. But when it comes to that, bill, we have not yet been able to get it passed.
Well, Robin, thank you so much for interrupting your breakfast to come talk with Tom and me. I really appreciate that.
No, thank you, and I just want to thank Labor for what they do and what they've done. We can win if we're all fighting together. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Robin Kelly. Everybody, thank you to Robin Kelly.